Roguelikes, roguelites, deck builders, survivor likes, bullet hells. How many of these have you seen or even played in the last few years? Chances are you played at least one. It feels like for the last 5 years, they've completely taken over indie gaming. And if you've scrolled through Steam, looked at any new indie IP, and felt like the genre is, well, oversaturated, you're not wrong. But I don't think it's dying. I don't even think it's in trouble. I think it's just reaching a maturity. And what we're seeing right now isn't the death of a genre, it's the survival of the fittest phase. And let me tell you, the market is brutal. To understand this flood of games, we have to look back at where it all started, the first drop of rain. We need to look back at a 1980 Unix game called Rogue. This is it, the namesake. ASCII graphics, permadeath, procedurally generated dungeons. It was super niche, super hardcore, and for decades, this idea just kind of bubbled under the surface. It was a mechanic, not even a genre quite yet. It was super niche, super hardcore, and for decades, this idea just kind of bubbled under the surface. But its ideas started leaking out. You had games like Azure Dreams on the PS1, which was this wild mix of roguelike dungeon crawler and monster tamer, or Dark Cloud on the PS2, which attached its roguelike experience to a full-on city builder. But the big one, the game that took roguelike from a niche mechanic to an indie explosion, was The Binding of Isaac in 2011. This was the game that most of us would say is responsible for the modern boom or interest in the genre. It combined that addictive run, die, repeat loop with twin-stick shooter controls and a legendary pool of item synergies. It basically created the template, or the foundation for the genre. And after Isaac proved the model, well, everyone wanted a cut. Just look at the numbers. According to Steam data from games tagged as roguelike and roguelite, in 2020, we saw about 650 releases. In 2023, that number jumped to nearly 2,000. And in 2024, it was over 3,000 games. More roguelikes and roguelites were released in 2024 than in the decade from 2010 to 2020 combined. So why? Why is everyone making one? Well, for an indie dev or a solo developer, it's a force multiplier. Why spend thousands of hours handcrafting 10 hours of levels when you can design systems that generate 100 plus hours of replayable content? Just like the sponsor for today's video, Lost Glitches. As a fan of Magic the Gathering and Runeterra, this one genuinely caught my eye. If you're like me and you're always looking for something with real strategic depth, you need to check this one out. The Lost Glitches isn't just another card game. It's a full-on turn-based tactical RPG with a deep deck building system, all wrapped in this really slick, dark cyberpunk aesthetic. You build a squad of glitches, which are these digital echoes of lost warriors, and lead them into tactical grid-based combat. Strategy is the real deal. You're managing action points, positioning your units, and using your card abilities to find the perfect combo. It's got that one more run feel, but with the deep deck building and squad customization of a trading card game. And the best part, it's free to play. So if you're looking for a new strategy game that actually respects your intelligence and doesn't hold your hand, do yourself a favor, click my link in the description and download The Lost Glitches for free. And you can use the code SDL10 on any purchase made through the link to get 10% off your first card pack purchase. Thanks again to Lost Glitches for sponsoring the channel. Plus that one more run loop, it's addictive. The high stakes, the what's next of random generation, the potential for a good run or a hilarious fail. It's free marketing. For a small dev, making a roguelike just makes sense. But it's also a risk. What if players don't like your idea? What if you don't add anything new to the genre? What if you're just another drop in the ever-expanding bucket? The problem is, everyone had the same idea. And all those new games have created a massive problem. Player fatigue. And this fatigue is coming from a few different directions. First, there's the sea of sameness. You felt it. You see a game with a beautiful art style, a cool premise, you're interested, and then you read the tag. Oh, it's just another roguelike. Or you see a cool new roguelike pop up only to realize it's just a lazy reskin of Vampire Survivors or Hades. Then there's the time market saturation. Think about it. How long does it take to beat a roguelike? You don't just finish a 10-hour story and move on. These games are time sinks. To complete Hades 2, you're looking at around 100 hours. Slay the Spire, maybe 180 hours. Balatro, 200 or more hours. And we're not even talking about all the games that have been released outside of the roguelike genre. As a developer, you're not just competing for a player's $20. You're competing for the next 100 hours of their free time against some of the best games ever made. That's a time sink economy that's impossible for most new games to break into. And third, we've seen this exact pattern before. This is the zombie game surge all over again. Remember the early 2000s? After the success of Resident Evil, zombies were everywhere. We had horde shooters, survival games, open world games, even zombie modes tacked into games that had nothing to do with them. I'm looking at you, Black Ops. It was a full-on trend chase. And what happened? We all got sick of it. The market was flooded with uncreative, generic, mindless cash grabs. The idea of zombies wasn't bad, but the execution was flawed. The trend died, and only the truly great, innovative games like Last of Us, Left 4 Dead, or Resident Evil are remembered as classics. And that's what's happening right now with the survivor-like tsunami. The vampire survivors phenomenon created a whole new subgenre that's being exploited. Even now, we are still getting well-known IPs pumping out these survivor-style auto shooter games. And hey, some of them are really good. But let's be honest, the majority of them are just cash grabs. They're trend chasers. It's the zombie mode of our generation. So if it's so saturated, if we're all so tired of it, why is the genre making millions of dollars? Because the saturation is just a filter. It's noise. It weeds out the clones, and when a game does something new, when it's truly innovative, it doesn't just succeed, it becomes a phenomenon that sticks out amongst the weeds. Look at Balatro. It combined a roguelike deck builder with poker. It shouldn't have worked. It's brilliant. And it sold over 1 million copies in its first month. Hades 2. The massive success of its full release this year proves that our appetite for high-quality, story-driven, polished games in the genre is stronger than ever. We're not tired of the genre, we're tired of the low-effort copies. Hell, even Megabonk, a game that is essentially a crazed love child of 3D Vampire Survivor and Risk of Rain ramped up to 100. It's a crazy success. The roguelike genre is saturated in the same way the App Store is flooded with match 3 games. 99% of it is just noise. But that 1%, the 1% that innovates, that blends genres in a way we've never seen before, that respects the player's time with quality and polish, that 1% doesn't just succeed. It defines the entire industry for the next few years, until the next Balatro, Hades, or Megabonk comes along. We're not in the birth of roguelike, we're in the survival of the fittest era. And honestly, I can't wait to see who wins. But that's just my opinion. What do you think? Is the genre just saturated, or is it on its way out? What's the best, most innovative roguelike you've played recently? Let me know down in the comments below. If you like the video, you know the drill. Like, sub, all that YouTube stuff. And until next time,